Catalyst 2030 started life as a WhatsApp group among social entrepreneurs, connecting to envision real transformational change. Launched at the World Economic Forum in January 2020, it's grown into a global movement accelerating change to ensure the SDGs are reached by 2030. Fueled by passion, our 550 members working in 175 countries have collectively put in an amazing 50,000 volunteer hours, touching the lives of 2 billion people. And we're driven by values, to which we hold ourselves accountable. 2020 was a busy year, co-creating 3 reports with partners and producing one of our own. Inviting high-level guests to participate in the Catalyzing Change campaign, hosting fireside chats and expert hours, which will be continuing in 2021. To celebrate our achievements, together we placed our supporters in the limelight with the first Catalyst 2030 Awards for Systemic Change. With the blessing of the Dalai Lama, we celebrated finalists and winners in the following categories: special recognition for our early supporters, individual philanthropists, donor organizations, philanthropic intermediaries, corporate organizations, bi- and multilateral organizations, and 4 regional winners in the category of national governments. And now on to Catalyzing Change Week 2021. During this social entrepreneur-led event, we bring together diverse stakeholders in over 100 sessions to showcase their systems change efforts and the best practices that can accelerate our work in pursuit of the SDGs.
Thank you, Faith, and thank you, Catalyst, for really giving us an opportunity to really present and even discuss what Delhi as a state have experienced over the past 7-8 years, what they've done right, and what we can share to the outer world to really see how can we also, like different states and different countries, can also learn from Delhi, and Delhi can in a similar space learn from whatever best practices happening across and really evolve. Before we move ahead, I would definitely want to show solidarity with so many billions and billions of people across the globe are affected with COVID-19, and also the solidarity with all the frontline workers, medical staff, and police support staff who is actually helping us to fight with COVID-19. So before we go ahead, I would invite everyone to really take a pause, and for a minute, just try and sit straight. We'll try and do a 1 minute mindfulness, just to first realign with ourselves, but also to show solidarity that we stand with people who are fighting for COVID, fighting with COVID to really come out of this and really make this world healthier and better. So please try and sit straight wherever you're sitting. Try and sit comfortable, sit straight. Try and see if you can put your feet on the ground. Now please try and take 2 to 3 deep breaths. With the last breath, try and close your eyes. If you can't close your eyes, if you feel difficulty in closing your eyes, you can look down. Try and maintain your focus on your breathing. If you see your thoughts are wandering and you're not being able to concentrate on your breathing, try and bring back your focus on your breathing. Whenever you feel okay, please feel free to open your eyes and realign with us on this session. I would again want to welcome everyone who has joined, taken out time for this session. Right now, we're extremely honored to be joined by Dr. Sapna Yadav and Dr. K.S. Upadhyay, who are working with Delhi Education Department. They have been the key members who have been deeply and very detailedly engaged with the journey Delhi has had for past 7 years in terms of the education revolution. They have been in all those important conversations from top leadership. They've also been involved at school level. They've also been involved in the conversation with teachers to understand. So in my belief, they are the most important people to understand what has happened in Delhi in past seven years, which now Delhi is claiming that they have done something remarkable in the education space, and what we from other space or other organizations, other countries can learn. So just want to start that. Before we go ahead, I would want to set a context. In past 7 years, when Delhi initially started this entire education revolution, some of the major steps they've taken. They have initially launched and given like a major stake of their budget, which is around 25% to the education department. This was first of a kind in this entire in India as a country. The first time the government gave 25% budget to education. On top of it, the budget was initially used to build the infrastructure, build toilets, build classroom, build a world-class facility, smart classrooms, give buildings for a space where kids can actually sit and learn, build libraries, build laboratories for them to go and experiment. From there on, once they had the confidence that we now have a good infrastructure, Delhi government has come up and launched some of the programs to build the foundational numeracy literacy amongst the kids. So they've launched the programs like Mission Bunyad, Chunauti programs, which was designed to keep in focus to build numeracy literacy kind of skill set amongst the students. Slowly and gradually, they've also realized that we need something more than numeracy literacy, and the government has came up with some of the futuristic curriculums like happiness curriculum, entrepreneurship mindset, and they're also launching the Deshbhakti curriculum, which in a way designed to work on the life skill, social emotional learning, and entrepreneurial mindset of students. So we have seen the journey from infrastructure to a futuristic curriculum, and now Delhi is also all set to launch their own education board, which they are claiming to be a world-class education system, where they would want to prepare students to thrive in future, a future which is uncertain, future which is unpredicted, and we don't know what we're going to face. And they are preparing the system in a way that a student who go through the education system, which is now being designed by Delhi government, they will have the confidence to thrive in that uncertain future. Keeping that in mind, I have extreme honor to introduce two of our guests. I would first want to introduce Dr. K.S. Upadhyay. He is currently the regional director of East Delhi. He has been part of many committees being set by Directorate of Education and even the MHRD. He's been part of the CCE, which is Continuous Comprehensive Evaluation Committee of MHRD, now is known as Ministry of Education. He has also head the Delhi Education Board Committee, which was given the mandate to come up with the recommendation to form the Delhi Education Board. He has also worked with Navodaya Vidyalaya, one of the most important and extremely high performing school system in India. And he's been there for 8 years. I had the honor to work with him for past 2 years, and I know from the personal experience, he is one of the most dedicated person. Who is very calm, but on the very same time grounded, and always reach out to the last mile stakeholders to know are they getting any benefit of the policies, or are they at comfort or not. So thank you and welcome, sir. I would also want to introduce Dr. Sapna Yadav. Dr. Sapna Yadav currently heads the Department of Education Technology. She is also part of a lot of committees set by definitely Delhi Education Department, but also the MHRD. She is part of the Diksha committee set by the Education Department of India, and she is currently heading the entrepreneurship mindset curriculum. She's also leading the Delhi for the Diksha platform and uploading all the materials on Diksha from Delhi's side. And I also had the opportunity to work with her in a limited capacity during the entrepreneurship mindset curriculum, but also when she was part of the Delhi Education Board. And I can say on my personal experience base, she is one of the most passionate person. Government always feel that they can give her a task which she definitely can put her down and complete it. Rarest of kind of a quality in someone who is working in the department. and she is one of the most innovative person who always try to come up with new ways to collaborate and innovate on the existing ideas. So welcome, ma'am. And thank you very much, Upadhyay ji and Sapna ji, to give us time to understand what's happened in Delhi. So I don't want to waste the time. Straight away, we want to jump into the conversation of what has happened. So my first question to both of you is, if I want you to reflect back on your journey when you've joined the education department 7, 10, 20 years back, and you've seen when the system was not at all moving, and all of a sudden after 6 years it started moving. Some of the conversation was shifting towards sustainable changes and new futuristic education. How did you feel? How do you want to reflect on that journey? And uh, considering you've been part of many of the reforms, what has actually changed according to you?
So I think, yeah, thank you, Amirji. In fact, you likes me. That's why you told about me in length. I don't deserve for that. Very valid question you have asked, because 7 years back when this government joined, and the situation of the entire public education system was like, I'll not say that it was a routine government type structure. And people who are not very keen to join to send their schools in the Delhi government schools. When this government joined, it was a overall change in the mindset, because this leadership has the vision that all problems of even society passes through education. So as you rightly said, they have allocated a 25% of the budget for this education, and I'll not repeat whatever you have said, but the entire change in the art of state infrastructure is there. The best part was that they have bring the faith of the people in the system by providing the autonomy to the schools, to the head of the schools, to teachers, as well as for the SMCs, the community. I give you a very small example. When first SMC Mahasabha took place, then the parents which were not coming to the principal's office, and it was the principal who was at the gate, welcoming them, bringing to the halls where the very tea and snacks were served. So this kind of bonding, and they have reflected, is a different type of system. When the entire ambience has changed, as you rightly said about the security, sanitation, and the state manager deployment, very small things, but it creates a lot. SMC Mahasabha involving the community into the school and schools in the community. So that builds the trust in the leadership, faith in the leadership. And a present leadership given a name, that is a team education. So they gave the ownership to all stakeholders. A small amount of, not a small amount, but 5 lakhs rupees for the SMC to spend upon, not only on the infrastructure, but even for the classroom. If they are needing for any teacher, they can appoint that. So more autonomy means the entire, when I was fortunate that I work in the different departments of the central government, but because something big was going on, that's why I shifted towards here. And when I became a principal to go for the, what the grassroots situations are, at that time, every file was being processed at the district level for anything. Now, this leadership given the complete autonomy to the school, and there was not a single file in terms of economic sanctions, administrative sanctions were being sampled. So this kind of trust, and that the parents were the part of the decision makers. So when everybody was in the same pitch that my child or school as a children, they have to reach to a destination. So that was a collaborative leadership and the team which are working. So this kind of trust and faith and ownership, that creates a difference among all stakeholders. So this is what I feel that. And apart from that, what you said about the infrastructure, that is then the autonomy to the schools. SMC means autonomy, as well as the budget allocation to 5 lakhs rupees means to the SMC to spend in one year, as well as there was a more flexible curriculum, means pedagogy level, that mentorship program, that TDC means that on-site support to the teachers' development, so changing the classroom. These were the things which were changed, and that was the first generation reforms. Now we'll talk later on about the next generation reforms. That creates a change, means the trust and the faith in the public education system in Delhi. Thank you.
So thank you, Amit, for your question. And I'm just adding in the Upadhyay sir talk that I'm not going to repeat. I have been part of this system from a decade, and there are some reflections for me and some key learnings also from the system. I'm just adding that the change you see, you told us in the question that the change we observe, that involvement of frontline workers. Frontline workers means here that teachers, HOS, students, officers, because we believe that the frontline workers know the better stage or better ground reality. So we try to involve the frontline workers in policy making and the decisions, so that we can do the better implementation. And the next one is, I always feel that, and I always inspire to see how our teachers and HOS working day and night to provide the quality education in our students, especially in this from the last year in this COVID period. And very truly said that we all know that leadership matters a lot. And here I just say that not only political leadership, our departmental leadership always support us day and night. At any point of time, we can always ask them for support, and they try to provide us support at that time only. So that's the only changes I observed in the last 10 years. From the last 5 years. And then, because other than this, Upadhyay sir told me, then changes what we observed, infrastructural changes, because we know that we have good buildings of our schools with better world-class facilities, swimming pool we have a hockey ground, we have cricket ground, good greenery in schools, out of the waste gardens our principals are trying to make. Other than this, teacher training reforms. I am in SCERT, State Council of Educational Research and Training. So we are trying to send our teachers for the international and national level trainings. We send our HOS and teachers inland, Cambridge, IIM, because we want that they must know their best practices from from these countries, how they be the first one in the index, happiness index. So that's why we send them for the international level trainings and the national level trainings. And the changes, I just say that here, confidence in our students, confidence in our teachers. Our students not only achieving success at the national level, but they are achieving success at the international levels. And our teacher, and the last, I just say one thing, that our teachers feel proud always to say that I'm a part of the Delhi government school system. I belong to Delhi Education Department. That's the changes I seen from the last 5 years. Thank you.
Just to reiterate, like Upadhyay, you talked about a lot of autonomy and the collaboration definitely within the system, and you've also talked about some of the autonomy and some of the consultation being done with the last mile stakeholders before making policies. So if I would want to ask you, like both of you, because you've been part of the system, the first is the bureaucracy angle. And whosoever has worked with the governments directly, definitely move in India for sure. And I'm not sure about what happened outside India. In India, it's very difficult to move bureaucracy from one end to another end, to even convince them. And here we've seen Delhi government reaching out to not-for-profit organizations, convincing them to come and work. What has changed that narrative? What has changed that narrative from even getting convinced? Now government is convincing others to come and work. According to you, what has changed?
Actually, Amitji, our leadership is not just planning and policy. They are the part of implementation, they are part of monitoring, and they are part of the feedback also. So complete loop is there. And we all sits there. So when earlier it was a top-down approach. But presently, what is happening that we sit together, all means breaking the hierarchy, And our leadership means the Minister of Education. There's no hierarchy. I can talk. Anybody can talk. Even my security guards can talk. He's so approaching, so visiting to the school, taking feedback from that. So he's the part of policy planning, implementation, monitoring, and feedback. So this jinx of the bureaucracy, when only the orders are passed, is not there existing. So he has given a name of team education. So when this type of working culture means is set up, means it has become now an organizational culture. So this jinx of bureaucracy, which is means it was prevailing earlier times, is not there. So when there is a means open thing to get the feedback, to means righteous feedback, honest feedback, and there is no hitch in changing or redesign the policy. So a lot of inputs are coming. So this has been broken up. The bureaucracy means rat trap, which we said earlier. So it is now not existing there. So in fact, it's open. And what about the non-profit organization you have talked about? When intent is pious, so all beautiful people who want to part of this change, they come together. And when all horses are unidirectional, definitely chariot has to go to its destination. So all means the supportive agencies, means government, non-profit organization are coming together because intent is very clear, direction is very clear. So there is no means the difficulty in moving in one direction. Okay.
I just want to add in Upadhyay sir that we are fortunate enough that many great organizations and individuals are working with us in the journey of this educational reform in Delhi. So the main reason what I think is that alignment. We both share the same vision of providing the quality education to our teachers. And just because we both non-profit organizations and we as in government, as an employee of government system, we share this. We want that our children who are going to schools has a right to get the best in the quality of in the education. So that's why their intrinsic desire take them to us on the same platform. That's why we are on the same platform, that there's non-profitable organizations and government system, and we are working together very beautifully. And I'm extremely thankful to all organizations who are working with us. In fact, individuals also working with us, not only non-profitable organizations.
Thank you. And Sapnaji, I would want to know from you, because you're part of SCRT and you have actually, you are in the first hand dealing with so many organizations, even in entrepreneurship mindset curriculum, and you've been part of many committees where definitely a lot of other organizations and not-for-profits participating in it. Every organization who comes in and support the government has their own agenda, their own expertise areas. How do you help them neutralize their own agenda and work on what government wants? How do you do that?
Yeah. Actually, it happens like because agenda is same. They want to provide quality education in whatever the form they have, and on the whatever project they are coming with us. For example, if I said about my online capacity building program, so there is one organization with us. So they come with us that they came with us that we will provide you the platform for the teacher training online capacity building program. So we just came on the same agenda, that how we will going to ahead, that we want to train our teachers, because SCRT is mandate to train for the teachers. So we want to train our teachers, and we believe that teachers are well versed in the content. So what we want, so do the alignment on the same test, that we want to give the training to our teachers, not only in the content, but in the different aspects like evaluation strategy, transaction methodology. So we sit together and discussed a lot. So similarly, in all the matters, in all the projects, we sit with the non-profitable organizations person, and then come on the same agenda. When we come on the same agenda, then we move ahead with different plannings and we also assign different works to different organizations. For example, in the entrepreneurship mindset curriculums, there are 2-3 organizations, and we try to give the different assignments to each and every organization. Although the agenda is same and there is no differentiation between the organizations, we just and all organizations ready to support and help each other in different programs too. But yes, we try to assign the different programs to different you can say list of the issues or list of the programs to different organizations. So that's the main basic goal, because intrinsic desire of all the organizations are same. So it is very easy to come together and then move ahead.
Thank you, Sapnaji. So I can see that whenever Delhi government come up with a new program, they would try and reach out to organizations who has the similar intrinsic desire to work on that same problem, and try and work out a solution with them and try and design the program which can be launched for students across, if I'm understanding.
Yeah, like in happiness and entrepreneurship mindset curriculum, we give an advertisement in the newspaper to call such type of organizations, and then we did the consultation workshop to find out which one is better for our program. So out of around 100 organizations in entrepreneurship mindset curriculums, only 5 to 6 organizations would come with us, and we out of 8 organizations, 3 organizations are still working with us. So that's the main point, that how we choose them. Just like you said that we share the same agenda. We try to call the organizations who are working for the same project, with a similar kind of project. So that's how we call them in our organizations.
Thank you, Sapnaji. Upadhyay, I have a question for you, because what Sapnaji has said is really important, that how you've been really transparent to the outer world. You've invited them to really come and work for you. But to do this, there's a lot of coordination required within the education department. So let's say in education department, there is a director of education and the education body, CRT. There is a lot of coordination required for this. And over the experience of some of the experience which we have working with multiple states, it's very difficult for the organizations working under the education department to keep that conversation open. And we've seen that a lot of bad communication, bad coordination in a lot of other departments. How, as a bureaucrat, I would ask you, you've been able to, first you've experienced that, and what is the root cause? Why there is no trust, no communication of different departments under one ministry, and what Delhi has done to mitigate that?
Actually, as I told you earlier also, when the top leadership means our Minister of Education is quite open to means the agenda is clear, what we have to achieve in terms of, like ma'am has said about the happiness and mindset curriculum and other, means almost in all programs, whether it's a training for SMC, whatever the new initiatives are, we are being successful because of all organization outside from the present, means the government system. They are joining us and they want to best to do in the particular fields. So we do not means have not on, we have the equality basis. We sit together, we respect the ideas. There is no bureaucratic hurdles in that. We have the licensing officers for that who coordinate with them, and they all are very open to reach to the, even the means our ministers or directors are, means there is no boundaries out there. So everything is open, and we can connect with them, whatever the problems in the areas, and all means the district level or middle level managers are there. So they coordinate with them. So as such, for last 6-7 years, when these reforms in education have been started in Delhi government, we don't find any single moment where there is a we are on the loggerheads or we are in the different opposite directions. We sit together and try to mitigate whatever the problems are, and we move ahead. So there is no means the problems in that, because our government policy and the director, we all are on the same lines. So up to the last level, so means that up to the head of the schools and the middle managers, means the district administration. So there is no problems are there. We sit together, talk together, and implement.
In Delhi, you've done it, and we accept that. And that's the reason why you've been able to accomplish so much. But my question is, why it is there in the system? Even before all this revolution started and the new leadership take on, there were some issues. And even if you go outside Delhi and you have the experience of what's happening across the country. So why there is no trust amongst different departments?
Actually, it's of all mindset. That's why entrepreneur mindset curriculum is there to change the mindset, right? As bureaucrats, we think that whatever we are thinking, that's good. So it's all mindset works there, that how do you take the things in properly. So in different states, it's not so working, and the reforms are not being taken care of with the outside agencies, because there is a bureaucratic mindset still persists there, because the mindset that whatever we are thinking, that's good. So the openness and feedback from the ground is very much essential. So where I feel that there will be a problem, that whatever they are planning and designing and implementation, but right kind of feedback is not coming over there. So there is some problems in that. But in our Delhi, because of the demography also, because of the connect also, because our location wise Delhi, we have the compact, we are very successful in that.
Okay, I'll come back to the feedback point which you mentioned, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and one thing I want to share here, basically add on in the point of Padre sir, that the reason working non-profitable organization in Delhi in a successful manner is just because we respect the ideas of each other. And our basic intrinsic desire, both organized non-profitable organizations and our organizations like government system, project director, whatever chairman, has the same intrinsic desire. Suppose we want to implement any happiness curriculum. Suppose we want to implement happiness curriculum initially, then your organization and our organization, we both share the same vision. We have to implement it, and we have to successfully, effectively implement it on ground. And when we share the same vision and same intrinsic desire, then definitely we come and sit together, like sir said, and we respect each other. Because if you have experience as a non-profit organization, then definitely as a government employee, as a government department employee, I should respect your attitude or your experience in this field. That's why I can gain the opportunity to work with you, and you can gain the opportunity with us.
Sure. Thank you, sir. I would definitely come back to the point which Padre sir mentioned about taking feedback from the last mile stakeholders. Before that, if I would want you to reflect back on your entire journey and give me that one policy or one incident or one program which has actually shaped everything what is here. What is that one thing, according to you, which was supremely crucial to do what you have done so far?
For me?
For both of you. You can start now.
So, I have a very long journey. As I said, I've been part of the system from last decade, but I want to share here from where I feel the changes. Like I started from 2015 when the first program came, that is Jeevan Vidya program. So at that time, it was the first program who thinks about the human values. जिसमें सोचा जा रहा था that the human values matters a lot. So we have been started from this Jeevan Vidya program. Then we never looked behind. Then teacher training reforms. And as I earlier told you that we send our teachers HOS at national and international level for the training like Cambridge, Finland, and then 2 new curriculums, that is happiness curriculum and entrepreneurship mindset curriculum. We know that entrepreneurship mindset curriculum is the requirement of today's world, in fact, because we want to inculcate the entrepreneurial mindset in our students. And the happiness curriculum, just look at the word outside. I think this is the most important ability we want in our students, that is powerful emotional control. Because in COVID period, we see that so many casualties are just going on because of I know medical issues are there, but mentally powerful, emotional powerful, be emotional powerful is the important thing. So we want our students, our child should be emotionally powerful control. So that's the happiness curriculum we bring. And other than this, so many new Mission Bunyad Chunoti, as you earlier told, that to improve the numeracy literacy in our students, these programs were started because we want our child should be ready for the future. We don't know about the next step. So we want that our students should be ready for the upcoming challenges and with the innovative solutions. And other than this, we want that our students should be ready to cope up with the failure. So that's why these are the some entrepreneurial some journeys from my side I'm observing. Other than this, we have lots of programs like Punk for the class 9th students on and during this COVID period, we also started English and personality development classes. Now shifted to online classes. Like this, we had lots of journeys. If I'm going to share here each and every part of this journey, then 1 hour is very less. So I'm just giving you a brief what I did.
So if I'll ask you one program which you think is the most important program, what is that one program you want to name?
So, for this time, I think 2 programs I want to mention. That is, that is happiness curriculum to be an emotional powerful control. You have to be powerful through emotions and you have to control your mind. And the other thing is to improve the economy and to improve the to solve the problem of joblessness and the employability. There is a need of entrepreneurship mindset curriculum. So that's why I am saying that the 2 programs are the most important programs which Delhi government is running in our schools. And I am fortunate enough to say that I think our leaders are have very nice vision to see the future. That's why they launched this program earlier, around 3 years ago. And we are hoping that we get the results or impact very soon.
Thank you for sharing that. Sir, as a bureaucrat, if I'll ask you, what is that one key shift which has actually shaped what we have right now in Delhi?
In fact, I'll not repeat, but because you have asked me not to repeat, but in fact, it's like a family feeling in the department and the ownership. When we tell somebody that, yes, I'm working in Delhi government education department, the light in the eyes of the person who is asking me is different. So this kind of means faith and this kind of means respect that has been achieved by this. I think it's a change for me. In fact, for the entire family of education of the Delhi government.
Thank you, sir. And I would also request whoever has joined, if you have any specific question for Upadhyay ji or for Sapna ji, please do feel free to post it here. We have one question. The question is, what kind of impact with all those things that's been done in Delhi you can see on the students? We can start with you, sir.
Actually, the performance of the students, I tell you, I give you one example. When in my previous organization, when I was at IIT Kanpur, he said that he was a topper, President Medal of the IIT Kanpur. He said that if these schools would have not been there, I would have not been even past class 10th. So how does education means a student? So definitely the performance of our students is improving a lot. The 98% results itself means saying that what the changes has been occurred, which is the best results in the government sector in the country across. And the selections of the students in IITs, medical, in different organizations, that shows that our students' performance and one student life can change the entire family, because our students are the different and disadvantaged social, emotional, social, financial circles. So that's why it is making a lot of change when the student is coming out, means the exit behavior of the students. So this is making a lot of change in the society and the community.
Thank you, sir. Sapna, if I have a question, because another question came in. What do you see that to do all those things, there has to be some unlearnings, some things you have to unlearn. What are the things the department or the teaching community in Delhi had to unlearn to do this?
Initial resistance. So whenever I'm saying you very from my experience that whenever we were going to start any new project, then we initially, I'm talking about the initially, then we always felt that there is always resistance from the ground. When we called our frontline workers, our teachers, HOS, for the meetings, how we can move ahead in any particular program. I observed that there was a resistance, and resistance, how we will do this, how we would happen this, and how would our students cope up with this type of programs, and we have academic pressures, how we will do this, like there's so many questions we have. So if you told me about to unlearn this, then definitely I want to go for to unlearn this type of habit. But yes, truly speaking, that I'm talking about from the last 2-3 years ago. This was the incident happened, not a single incident. It was happened almost in all the projects initially we were done. But whenever they observed the impact on ground, saw the results on the ground in students, then definitely they change their mindset and they come up with the open hand that we are ready to help you. So whenever you will ask for us, we will come and then do the help. Whatever help we can do, we will provide you the help. And other than this, unlearning from our teachers and our HOS and from the departmental personnel is that our file work. Very truly, sir, sorry for that, sir. Sometimes we stuck in our file work. So I want to change our file work system.
Yeah.
Vijay, you have
Yes, sir.
Can I
Yes,
ask
sir,
you?
please.
The bottleneck is the readiness. If we prepare means where we are to include whosoever our stakeholders are, if we make them ready, the things are smooth. So a lot of work has been worked on, and we change the word inspection to observation and support. So that gives a feeling of that. So, and leading by friend. So these are some key things which.
So just to reiterate what you said, sir, is that you've changed the narrative in terms of some of the components, inspection to like really come and help you in terms of doing better. Some of the narratives you've changed that has helped them to collaborate more. And some of what said the resistance was initially there, and how can you break through the resistance, and in terms of helping others to come out of it and given the additional support in terms of asset manager and other to do the work, administrative work properly and focus on the academics more. So thank you. And there's one more question came in as that what was the motivation to change? What actually motivated you so that you want to change the system, you want to change everything and make it better? What was the motivation?
In fact, motivation is that when we got initially means results, that is what motivation is. When we compare, for example, infrastructure in many of the schools, they have posted means the photographs, what we were, what we are now. Same thing in the curriculum, pedagogy means all directions, all classrooms. So when we compare, so and then we feel joy of it. Initially, the readiness, the bottleneck, whatever the madam said, resistance. But after, when the outcome is there, and every individual by core of heart, they are for the student. They want that. There's no one on this earth as a teacher who doesn't want my student should not get this. So when we compare this present and the past, that makes a motivation. And what I said earlier, that the respect in the society, that people who are acknowledging us, that gives the motivation to much better, to more and more. So we are now, bar is our, means the present leadership of MO is raising the bar now. In Hindi we call it the dil maage more, isn't it? So that's why that is the self-motivation as well as the means the person who are.
So the question is, I think they want to go a little more deeper into the question, that definitely the initial result will motivate you to see that there are things changing. But even before that, Sapna, this is for you if you want to answer that. Even before the initial result, even when you even started the first intervention to change all those things, what was the motivation behind that?
Actually, at the time, the entire, yeah, ma'am, please.
No, no, please, sir. Please.
No, no, you complete. No.
Sir, Amit, was in ST Microelectronics, that is an MNC before coming here in at SCRD. So that from there, the environment is totally different. But when I joined there, so when I started my project, that was very small project, that is about to classroom observations kind of things. That was my first research. So when I went into the classroom, I observed teacher to complete my survey form, then questionnaires, and I asked to teacher that why are you taking so much pain to teach all the students? They are making so noise. They were making so noise and doing this. The teacher came and she very politely said to each and every child that I'm here for you. If you want to learn, please sit here. Otherwise, I will not come. I will not complain to you. You can go outside to the room. So that was the one incident, and that was the one sentence that all the classroom was set, and every student is open the book, and then whatever the teaching they did, she took full class very enthusiastically, and all the students participate in that classroom. So I was from MNC background. I had the experience of education, but not like that direct teaching experience at that time, because I was in MT for 8 years. Before that, I was in teaching for 5 years. But that incident changed me a lot, because I learned that love and affection is the only thing which can change a lot, including your participation in teaching learning process. If you are a good teacher, if you are a good communicator, then you can do the magic. So that is the one incident at the initial point for the motivation. But right now, I just want to share one example with you that it was about 2-3 months ago. I was sitting in my office and I just got a call. And on the other side, there was a man. He told me that, thank you for the encouragement to my daughter and for making her star. So I was so surprised to hear this, to whom I made the star. Then he told me that I am father of Nisha Yadav. So I just understand, sir knows better this story. So in entrepreneurship mindset curriculum, there is a component of case studies in which we released case studies of some students, weekly case studies we released, and we through the social media, we tried to we have been trying to inculcate in these case studies how the students doing these hard work to help their families. So Nisha Yadav is a girl whose father lost his job in last pandemic time. So she helped her father by making a website without knowledge of any software making, just because of the words of the teacher that you can do everything. So she took help of YouTube, and with the help of her teachers, she made a website for her father, which is helping her father in the earning process. So that is the some little motivational levels we are getting time to time to motivate and to change the system, because these are the additional bonus points for us.
Thank you. Thank you. So I just want to reiterate that there were definitely an underneath feeling that we are working in education department and definitely want to change something. That has initially triggered in terms of what we want to do, and the initial success has led us to keep on doing it with one step at a time, from infrastructure to numeracy literacy to the futuristic curriculum. So thank you very much for sharing it. There's one more question, and I want to club it with my question in terms of what next. When we've done all those things, now Delhi schools are one of the best performing schools across the country in terms of the CBSE results, in terms of getting admissions into the prestigious IITs and medical exams. So Delhi government is doing a lot. So what next first? And do you think whatever we are planning to do next will help our students to fight with an uncertain future like this pandemic? There will be next kind of uncertainty waiting for us the next tour. How would that new system which you're thinking of will help a student to fight or to thrive in that scenario?
Vijay, in fact, what's happening are the new board which we are considering Delhi government has already made. Because my personal experience and apart from all educationist experience, it is that the assessment drives your classroom. Means whatever the pedagogy is there, classroom transaction is there, everything means the assessment drives that. So we have decided, our present leadership has decided we'll have a new board. That will means the assessment will be for learning. It means that otherwise what was happening, that learning for assessment was going on. So that is what next generation reforms, and we will have the assessment in the natural state of learning. Now, the student is not knowing, and that will be kind of feedback to the teachers, not for the students. Later on for the student when we certify them, but it will be for the teachers that how you have to change your classroom transaction, means all parameters like pedagogy and others. So this is what number one. Number two, we are having the happiness and entrepreneurship mindset curriculum. Apart from that, we are having the Deshbhakti curriculum also, because Deshbhakti is not that means the structured Deshbhakti. If we are means our minister says that if you are not obeying the rules, that is also against the Deshbhakti. So to inculcate those feelings that we are not wasting a light, we are not means everything. So that is what new type of curriculum, as well as we have the specialized schools of excellence, in which means, for example, for STEM, for visual and performing arts, for 21st century skills, for humanities, means the students can thrive into their own domain. And the curriculum, domain specific curriculum. So domain specific curriculum means that up to fifth there will be no means the subjects oriented. We have designed a curriculum as per the NEP and means the new education policy guidelines, and almost all work has been done on that. We are going to for the piloting stage now. So that is what the students as agency, which can construct their own knowledge, means reducing the teachers means deliberations. Learning is more important than the teaching. So this type of curriculum we are developing. These are next generation. Because of pandemic, we could not start within this new session. Otherwise, these all next generation reforms were to be started by this session.
Thank you, sir. I just want to reiterate that first is definitely a changing narrative of assessment. Right now, the content follow the assessment, but you're changing the narrative now. Whatever you're learning, how can we do an assessment of that instead of doing it vice versa? But at the very same time, we're also trying to incorporate these futuristic curriculums which you've mentioned around happiness, entrepreneurship, and Deshbhakti, which is a citizenship kind of a curriculum, but also at the very same time linking it with life skills that they can prepare students to thrive in future. Thank you very much. Just one last question. I think that's for Yusuf Naji to start, and then Padreji. Right now we are seeing in COVID pandemic, the latest report I was reading in the morning is that Delhi schools have vaccinated. The last week it has started. This week only, Monday it started. Delhi school have been contributing and vaccinating the population in the masses. They have vaccinated around 150,000 people so far, and the numbers are going to increase from here. What gave you confidence to support a broken healthcare system? Being an education system, you were so confident that now we can support it. What gave you that confidence?
I'm very proud of my team that for last 1 year, we were working for the isolation centers, quarantine centers, testing centers, migration camps, shelter homes, hunger relief centers, everything we're working for the COVID. But this second wave of this pandemic, we are working for the vaccination centers and the hunger relief. I've also visited 2 centers because they were started today in the morning. But our leadership is leading with the front because we have to support, and education department is always ahead of that. So when all our leadership is in the school, means the first day our minister sir was there and the entire leadership is in the ground. And the confidence, because for the last 1 year we are working for that. Today we have increased to 100 and we are going for 300, 400 schools to be as a vaccination center. And I tell you that the kind of arrangements we are making, that social distancing, no means they have to waiting, means slots are being available, and we are providing every help. Our entire department, teachers, means supportive staff, even the SMC member, the parents, everybody is in totality they are working upon to get out of this mess of pandemic. So really, we all are working as a team to support our citizens of Delhi.
Quickly, Sapnaji, 30 seconds to share what gave you the confidence.
So, Amit, I just want to add, because Upadhyay sir just told us about the infrastructural support, but I want to share here that not only infrastructural, but the education department is helping our citizens to be powerful emotional control. And we want our students should be empathetic and self-aware, and to be ready for the future challenges, and to get the solution for those challenges. And so we are preparing our citizens for that through the education. And other than this, we are also preparing our students with the entrepreneurial mindset, so that they should have confidence, they should be innovators, they should be critical thinker in all the terms, so that they should be ready for the future in all the senses, be a good human being, be a good citizen in terms. So through this Desh Bhakti curriculum, we will try to make our citizens be a good citizen who obeys all rules and regulations, live in a disciplined life, on all these things. So because we know that this COVID period compelled us to think quickly and find ways so that learning of our students don't stop. So we are trying to find the ways, and it also tells us that nothing is fixed. We have to be ready for our roller coaster future. So these are self-awareness, empathetic, critical thinker, entrepreneurial mindsets are the abilities we want to inculcate our upcoming adult citizens. So, and other than this, I just want to add one thing, that this time I am following 3 P's. That is protection, precautions, and positive mindset. So we have to be with these 3 P's to reduce the risk this COVID period.
So thank you. We've just finished our time. Just want to thank first of all both of you for being here and be so open to share. I just want to rearticulate after, like, even apart from all the infrastructure and budgetary changes, there are some of the key components you've mentioned around trust, around faith, around inclusion, and around changing the narrative of inclusion. How you've been reaching out to different stakeholders, to parents, to students, to engage them in the policy making process, but also to civil societies to really come realign their objective with the government's objective and really help with the main bigger cause to really help thrive students for the future. So I really want to thank everyone for being available so far, and thank you Sapnaji and thank you Upadhyay for being available. Any closing remarks in like 10 seconds you want to give? Sapnaji, we'll start with you.
So we all know this is the difficult time, and we should stay together in this crucial time. It is a stormy, not stormy, it's a tsunami, but rains never last forever. So be at home, stay safe, and pray to God for everyone, and help to try to help each and everyone as maximum as we can from our home. So this is the only message I want to give, because I am following the same. I just want to communicate this. Thank you, Amit, and thank you, Catalyst, for giving us this opportunity.
So thank you, Catalyst, and let's pray together, work together to get out from this. Let God helps us. So thank you, Catalyst, to be part of this wonderful.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Upadhyay. Thank you, Sapnaji, for taking our time. I would like to thank the Catalyst team to really give us the opportunity and the platform to really share what we've learned. And I know that we've not been able to answer all the questions, so we're just putting down our email addresses for people who wish to know more about what Delhi has done and want to connect us connect with us on this again. So please do reach out to us and we'll be happy to answer all the questions which you've not been able to do it here. So thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all.